big beautiful bill Medicaid cuts. I'm for it because I'm an able-bodied American citizen right now.
Please welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Strana. Thank you so much for all the love and support. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of us, you guys are the real. So lovely. So I came across this video right for you, and I thought to share with this pan-colored woman. Is all out to thank God about the big beautiful bill. She goes as far as to talk about how she's not going to be affected because she's an edible, strong woman who is here to work for any of her earnings. She urged people, both disabled people, to go out there and work, even if they are not in the health frame of mind to work. She was like, even if you are disabled, you are meant to work. Nobody is ready to work and make you benefit from all of your work. Lovely. So I'm just going to roll it. Please leave me your own thought and let's dive into
Big beautiful bill Medicaid cuts. I'm for it because I'm an able-bodied American citizen right now. I'm headed to work. I work at least 40 hours a week. People need to stop just getting free benefits. If you can go to work, you need to go to work because we're tired of paying for everybody. So Medicaid cuts, we're here for it.
Here's my mother-in-law. She worked 40 hours a week too at the same company for 32 years, and she was union, and then she got brain tumors and she lost her health insurance because if you're not working, you're going to lose your health insurance, and then Medicaid and Medicare kick in. Every single person is one tragedy away from having to be on Medicaid and Medicare. You're one brain tumor, one car accident, and for you specifically, looking at you, I can tell you're one heart attack away from needing Medicaid and Medicare. Now, I know that you think everybody that's on them is lazy illegals, but guess what? One day, you're gonna need it and you're not gonna have it. And it's not you that's paying everything. It's people like me, the younger generation, that are paying for that, for you, for her. Now, thank God that she had successful children that can subsidize her way of life, because Medicare and Medicaid, it don't cover it all. You're going to be in poverty forever, and you're going to lose your house, you're going to lose your home, you're going to lose everything that you ever worked for, and you're going to have to move in with your kids. So I hope that you have fucking rich kids, because you just made that little tiny entitlement that you're going to need fucking smaller. I would like people like you to think of the future. You're going to need it. For you, it's probably going to be a couple years, all right? Because I could tell you've probably been eating butter and fried chicken for the last 20 years.
Big beautiful bill Medicaid cuts. I'm for it because I
have tried to record this multiple times because it makes me so angry. But here we are. Here we are. I hope that you never ever need Medicaid. But being an American with a disability is the one marginalized group you could join at any time. Trip and fall on a sidewalk wrong, traumatic brain injury. Be diagnosed with ALS, guess what? You're gonna need Medicaid. Get into a car accident, lose a limb, you're gonna need Medicaid. Have a stroke, can't move the left side of your body, gonna need Medicaid. And yet you are here celebrating the government willingly ripping Medicaid out of the hands of people who need it most. Yes, you can work 40 hours a week now, but that may not always be the case.
cuts. I'm for it because I'm an able-bodied American.
The mental gymnastics this lady just put herself through to think that this bill is good is, I don't think I could have written a better Oscar-winning script. And goes on in another video to say, hey, I have to meet requirements if I need it because I know if things change for me, I'm gonna need it, and as long as I fit the requirements, I'm good. Basically saying, fuck everyone else, as long as I get it, I'm okay. This is the problem with America today. We can't eat together. We always have to have more than the other. Now, don't get me wrong, like, everyone can win in this country, right? I think there's varying degrees of win, but I still think that everyone can have a piece of their American dream, whatever that looks like, because everyone's dream is a little bit different. For the person that didn't come through legal ways, it could just be providing a way for their family to make it, for their future generations to make it. I have my version of the dream, which it doesn't necessarily involve that. But to just take the bridge that was built, burn it, and then cheer over the burning, knowing one day.
Somebody made a comment. I can't remember if they just made the comment that this was going to take place or if they were asking me if this were going to take place. But they mentioned that this big, beautiful bill, when we really begin to see the harm, it will be after the 2026 election. And that's how these Republicans have designed it. And that's exactly right. We won't feel the effects until after the 2026 midterm. And the reason why they did that is because they know that a lot of Americans have short memories. I'm not one of them. A lot of Americans have short memories. And what the plan will be after we all head to the polls in 2026 to boot out Republicans, what they will then do when everything starts to go to shit, they will blame the Democrats, because it will be the Democrats who will have the majority in the House and in the Senate. So their plan is believing that we will all forget all of this went down, how hard they fought to get this bill passed and on to Donald Trump's desk for his signature. I won't let you forget, though. People who follow me, we're not going to forget. And we will be reminding everyone what really went down. That's in 2026. Remember what I said. They are planning to blame the Democrats. If the Democrats win the House and the Senate, the plan will be to blame Democrats for the chaos of the economy. That's in 2026. And then another portion of the bill goes into effect after 2028, because they know we coming for their ass in 2028 for the presidency. So when the other part of this bill and all of the chaos and destruction starts to happen as a result of this bill, they will then again blame the Democrats, because they are anticipating that a Democrat will get the presidency in 2028. And then they believe that will forever lead them in the pathway for 2032. We ain't gonna forget. We will not forget. If I am here, if I have strength, and God sees for me to continue using my voice, I will not let you forget. I will be here to remind you of who is really responsible for all the chaos, the destruction, the harm that we are going through after 2026 and then again in 2028. I will be here to remind you. If you will be around to remind people, please comment down below. I will also be here to remind people.
I am so sad. I cannot believe the big, ugly, dead-ass bill was approved in America. Like, I am shocked. I'm shocked that that was approved by people that were voted in to represent Americans. I cannot believe that they just voted to approve ICE to go from being funded $10 billion to $100 billion. You just think, how could people vote for that? How could people vote for that? How could people sleep at night? How could they vote for that? I think that I am grieving America. I am grieving the America that I used to know, that used to be heroes, that used to be like the good guy. I mean, they were arrogant, but they weren't evil. And those people that voted to increase funding for ICE from $10 billion to $100 billion, to take healthcare insurance away from 10 million Americans, to take food away from children. They're the bad guys.
It's over. It passed. And this is what that means for so many Americans. Billions of dollars cut from Medicaid, which affects millions of Americans. The poorest of the poor people in this country are going to lose their health care, be unable to feed themselves, and this is what people wanted. And the richest people in this country will get a tax cut. So if you're not upset, then I'm confused. If this is what you want, I think you need to take a much deeper look at who you are and what you stand for, because this is devastating to so many people in this country. You were often one step away from needing assistance. One step.
You think the big beautiful bill won't affect me because I'm disabled?
The way my account is set up right now, I have multiple strikes. You are lucky. I have multiple strikes in my account. Because the way I was about to go in on you.
We are done. That was a good one. Wow.
They're calling it the big beautiful bill, and Trump signing it yesterday means that millions of Americans are about to get screwed over the next couple of years. The big beautiful bill, as it's called, is essentially a mechanism for wealth transfer, right? Siphoning money out of the poorest of Americans through cuts to SNAP and Medicaid and transferring it up to the wealthiest Americans through a series of tax cuts and increases to federal spending on the military and other things like this. To understand how this is going to affect millions of Americans very directly, we first have to talk about the assault on Medicaid. That assault includes new work requirements for childless adults without disabilities, shifting re-enrollment from once a year to every 6 months, adding income and residency verifications, and lowering provider taxes, which states use to help fund their Medicaid costs. On top of that, it is tightening eligibility requirements, forcing able-bodied adults with children aged 15 and over to work or volunteer at least 80 hours a month. Now, that might not seem like a lot, and that's kind of the point, right? The Trump administration and its allies want to pass these sorts of reforms that it can publicly say are just small changes that make Medicare better, that actually are making it much worse for a lot of people. Because what happens when you have these extra verification standards, these work requirements and volunteer requirements, things like this, is that you're putting extra steps into the process, making more paperwork that needs to be filled out, creating barriers that will inevitably lead to people losing their coverage. And that's not just me saying that, right? The Congressional Budget Office themselves has estimated that nearly 12 million Americans could lose their health coverage by the end of the next decade as a result of these changes. On top of that, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, which is used by over 40 million low-income Americans, is now also, by all means, under attack and getting rolled back. What the big beautiful bill is trying to do is shift the burden of payments from the federal government onto the states, right, by using the sort of arbitrary error payment rate that they've determined to determine whether or not states are going to get more or less federal funding. Like with Medicaid, Republicans are trying to pass off these work requirements as being a way to make the system better, but ultimately, again, it creates more verification processes, more paperwork, and more headaches that will ultimately lead to people being kicked off of the program. Also, just like on a broader note, people shouldn't have to work just to have access to food. That's insane. Those extra barriers to entry, combined with the cuts that we're likely to see as states are put more on the hook for funding these services, means that we're likely to see millions of Americans find it more difficult to put food in their pantry and keep themselves going, right? They're going to be less able to meet their basic needs. But don't worry, the U.S. military is receiving a budget increase of $150 billion under this bill, with a lot of the money used to bolster the armed forces' shipbuilding capacity, as well as funding Trump's Golden Dome missile defense project. And that money's likely just going to line the pockets of defense contractors across the United States. Again, this bill is a sort of wealth transfer project, siphoning money out of the working class people through cuts to like SNAP and Medicaid, and putting that money in the pockets of multinational corporate entities like Boeing, Raytheon, other entities like this. We're also seeing massive increases in funding to ICE, right, which is going to run until 2029, which is going to be used to nearly double migrant detention capacity in the U.S. and hire more enforcement personnel. Prior to this bill, the existing annual budget for ICE was about $8 billion, which is already, if you can do the math, $8 billion too much. But the funding now makes ICE the largest federal enforcement agency in the country. Again, a lot of that money is just going to be transferred directly into the pockets of multi-billion-dollar companies, right? Like Boeing, Raytheon, Palantir, notably, others like this. But also that funding is going to be going towards directly arming a fascist paramilitary agency that is going into our communities, tearing our people from them, and putting them in what are functionally concentration camps. Concentration camps like Alligator Alcatraz, which is slated to hold thousands of prisoners and was built in a matter of days in the Everglades, and since its construction has already flooded. In essence, the big beautiful bill is an act of class warfare, siphoning money away from millions of Americans by cutting back on programs they desperately rely on, all the while fleecing the pockets of multinational corporations and a handful of billionaire actors. Millions of Americans over the next couple of years, as a direct result of the big beautiful bill and other efforts like it, are going to find it increasingly difficult to put food on their tables and get access to the medical care that they deserve. But to the U.S. government, that's ultimately okay, because millions of Americans might be getting fucked over, but companies like Palantir, Boeing, Raytheon, Elbit Systems, and others are still getting their checks. And that's really all that matters, right? The corporate donors get a return on their investment, and we get to expand detention facilities across the country to put more and more people in concentration camps in the process. For the government, this is great. For us, less so. Something worth thinking on, I think. But yeah, as always, Assalamu alaikum, and have a great day.
Well, ain't that mighty white of you, man? With your, passionate about your conservative views. Bless your heart. Isn't it amongst the conservative consensus that conservatives are Christian? Oh, my. Well, let me share something with you real quick, man. Can I have a moment of your time and share this with you? It's called the good news. And the good news is from a wise man that once told me, all the nation will be gathered before him, and he will separate them from one another. As a shepherd divides his sheep from the goats, and he will set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats to his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you a stranger and take you in, or naked and clothe you? Or when did we see you sick or in prison and come to you? And the king will answer and say to them, assuredly, I say to you, inasmuch as you did to the one of the least of these, my brethren, you did to me. Then he goes on to say, Then he will also say to those on the left hand, depart from me, you cursed, into the everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his angels. That ain't from the big, beautiful bill, man. That's from the big, beautiful book. The real king. That's his words. Depart from me, you cursed, into the everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his angels. Have the day you deserve, ma'am, and God bless you.
I seriously love this. You know, some of these MAGA supporters often think that these bills, this big beautiful bill, and all of that is only going to affect undocumented immigrant or people that is just like the Hispanic and any other undocumented people, without them actually having a rethink or a thought that okay, there are some disabled people who are unable to work, who are not in a very, you know, condition, a health condition to work. They had or they have other health challenges that might deprive them of working. And with that being said, they are not going to be taken care of because it actually takes someone that is able to work and earn some money in order to take care of him or herself. So this woman who decided to go out all on the social platform to brag about how she is so able to work, she has all of the capacity to work, right? And without, you know, pausing a little bit to think about every other person that don't have that opportunity that she has, you know. The thing is that nobody had actually know the future. Nobody know what might happen in the nearest future. You might be very, very edible now. You might be very healthy. You might be so strong. Everything working out for you. But in a twinkling of eyes, things might actually change for the worst for you. Nobody is praying for that, but still, nobody can predict the future. You being so okay, so able to work to earn something for yourself does not really mean that other people have the opportunity that you have. And that does not really mean that you have to go around start mocking these people because maybe they are disabled. I saw some couple of, you know, some couple of stitches and commentaries where people are like, okay, because I saw this thing a comment section of a disabled person. I even thank God that some of them are into all of this great thing of a thing. So they were like, they should quit begging and go out there and work. Even if there are so many jobs out there for disabled people to work, how many are those jobs? Will the job be able to accommodate all of the disabled people? You know, it's so easy to talk about how this benefit that is going to be cut right now benefits undocumented or immigrants and all of that without thinking through that this might also have an effect to the people who needed it the most. Even if they want to cut off some benefit, they should somehow think about people like this, people that can't even work, people that can do nothing, you know. There are so many of them out there. And it's so easy to like to come out because maybe you're all okay, you're physically fit to directly or indirectly mock other people who are not. Another thing I also want to touch is the fact that one of my favorite TikToker, Tabitha, official Tabitha Speaks, she talked about how somebody left in the comment section that this big beautiful bill will actually going to affect the, going forward, it's going to affect the nearest future, not even now. It's going to have a very difficult, a very negative effect, which might actually fall on the neck of the Democrats. And when it happens, then that is when they'll want to blame Democrats for their failures. That is when they'll have to like, oh, Democrats caused all of them, but without remembering the beginning, the what's really the cause of the effect. And I really understood where she's coming from. It's so easy to keep on passing bills upon bills that eventually we go to a negative effect in the nearest future. It might not even be now. It might not be next year or next year. It might even have this negative impact in 3 years or 5 years to come. And by then, this present administration is already handing over. And before you know it, they are blaming the present administration then. Like, anyway, lovely, so now just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section. Before you think of this video, and please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We're just here for educational and informative purposes. So, lovelies, if you're not subscribed, you're gonna huge but to click on the subscription button, like, and I will see you, lovelies, when I upload the next one. In the comment section of what you think of this video, please subscribe to this channel if you're here to do that. Like, and I will see you, lovelies, when I upload the next one.